What up guys, JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another video. So first and foremost, I hope you guys enjoyed the new video series I posted where I was working my way through every film that I watched in 2020. If you haven't checked that video out, please do. I put a lot of time into editing it and I thought it turned out pretty decent. More of those to come, but for today we have an unboxing. I finally received my Black Friday order from the one, the only, you can probably tell by the sticker around the box and the title of the video, but Vinegar Syndrome. Yep, Vinegar Syndrome. I didn't place a huge order. I would have liked to place a bigger order, but I had already put like a couple $100s into Black Friday up until that point. Next year, I would really love to do the yearly package from Vinegar Syndrome. But it's so much money right at the point. I mean, it's a good deal. It's just like to drop that kind of money, I almost need to save for it or like put money away throughout the year for it. Maybe one year. But for now, we have a nice little box here from VinSyn. Probably my current favorite releasing company. They are just amazing. They've been doing some great work ever since some of their early horror titles like Christmas Evil and Madman. They've put out consistent great stuff. A lot of unknown hidden gems. One of my favorites was Blood Harvest. It's not that great of a movie, but it was just such a unique little type of movie that I was really into. Yeah, so let's go ahead and slice this bad boy open. I love how they put this little sticker on there. I guess if you live in a certain area and somebody's like, oh man, this guy got a Vinegar Syndrome package on his porch, I'm gonna steal that. But yeah, Vinegar Syndrome, dude, their transfers are amazing. Like 90% of their transfers are great, but the ones that are like really great are just phenomenal. Like some of the best transfers out there. So here's the box here. First of all, let me just say, you know, well packaged. Got some nice paper to space the titles, and we have their bubble wrapped, which is good. Alright, so I got 4 titles here. The first title I got here is a title that they put out a while ago and I just never got around to picking it up, but it's one that I wanted to check out. It is the double feature of Murder Weapon and Deadly Embrace. These, I believe, both star Linnea Quigley. 2 erotic thrillers from David Duchovny. I don't know, dude, like, you know, the cover looked cool. Linnea Quigley is a Scream Queen legend. It was just a title that always seemed interesting to me to pick up, and I love double features because you get 2 movies for, you know, the price of one. It looks like there is a new commentary with Linnea Quigley and David Duchovny on there. And then you got introductions by David Duchovny. I really like introductions from directors. It's one of my favorite little bonus features. They're usually only a couple minutes long, and it's cool to see the director just briefly talk about the movie before he shows it. It's pretty neat. So yeah, that was the first title I picked up. The second title I picked up here was one that I just had to grab. Was sitting on it for a little bit and I was like, I just got to grab this thing before it goes out of print or something. But it is Deadly Games DAO Code Santa Claus, which I just seen for the first time this past year. I was hoping this got here before we recovered it. It had no chance of getting here before then, but yeah, it's a, I believe, French film, and it's really kind of a little unknown. It kind of came into popularity last year when Bloody Disgusting did an article on it and it hit Shudder, and then a lot of people kind of learned about it. But before that, if you go back, you know, 5 years ago, nobody really knew about this film. It didn't have a release here in the US. I believe it had a German import that some people in the know grabbed. People in the hardcore, you know, scene may have knew of it, but for the most part it was relatively unknown. But it became this film that everybody sort of championed last year and this year, and I thought that was really cool because it is a really fun movie. It's essentially like a mashup of like Home Alone and like Rambo, but with like a Santa Claus, a psychotic Santa Claus. It's a pretty cool movie, and I got the 4K edition here, which is pretty awesome. I do have to say. This is my second Vinegar Syndrome 4K. I also picked up Tammy and the T-Rex. Unfortunately, my Tammy and the T-Rex does not have a slipcover for it, but this one does. This is such a cool release, man. I was really excited that they announced this. This is like the perfect title for Vinegar Syndrome, this unknown little gem that they put out, and then it gets it a lot of exposure. Not sure if there's any features on here. Yeah, I mean, it's Vinegar Syndrome. They usually have features. Interview with the director. There's even a little short film from the director, I believe, on here. So that's pretty cool. Cool little release here from Vinegar Syndrome. Just so you guys do know, I did actually get the Beastmaster 4K, which you'll see in my next DVD update, from Vinegar Syndrome for Christmas. My homie Carly got it for me, and that I think it's the first of the Vinegar Syndrome U line, which is the Ultra HD line, and I gotta say, like, it is some of the sickest packaging out of any releasing company ever. Beastmaster looks absolutely amazing. The release, I haven't popped it in yet, but the release looks absolutely amazing. Alright, and then we have here, we have Forgotten Gialli Volume 1. So this is such a nice box. I just gotta say, man, I mean, the material they use feels really good. It has this nice little slip cover here, which this was the same type of box they used for the Amityville trilogy, and it just works really well, man. So this is 3 Giallo films: Trauma, Police Are Blundering in the Dark, and The Killer is one of 13. So these are, like the title says, Forgotten Gialli films. You know, they're forgotten Giallos that not many people know about, I guess. I've never heard of any of them. So, cool thing about these box sets is they still have their standard Blu-ray cases as well. So first up here we have Trauma, and Trauma here is a Spanish Giallo from 1978. It says, Daniel, a writer seeking seclusion to work on his new book, finds himself stranded at a rural bed and breakfast run by a strange, prudish young woman and her ailing, wheelchair-bound husband, who remains shut in his room all day. However, as night falls, a psychotic, razor-wielding killer begins stalking the bed and breakfast, brutally slashing the throats of the most sex-crazed guests, whose bodies, luggage then mysteriously disappear the following morning. Dude, this sounds actually pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like set in a bed and breakfast, that sounds super cool. And you gotta love that cover there too. I'm not a huge, massive fan of Giallos, but this one sounds pretty good. Alright, and then we have The Police Are Blundering in the Dark. Dude, okay. A young nude model is violently stabbed to death with a pair of scissors. It soon emerges that 3 women have already fallen prey to the unknown maniac, and that 3 victims have a single unique connection. They all served as models for an eccentric photographer named Parisi. When another young woman with a date to be photographed is murdered, her journalist boyfriend decides to investigate the crimes and quickly finds himself mixed up with Parisi, who reveals that he is working on a camera capable of photographing people's thoughts. Okay, that one sounds really weird. This one's from 1975, and it is a Italian Giallo, which most of them are. Alright, then we have The Killer is one of 13. A recent widow has invited a group of family friends to our large secluded country home. However, the guests don't know what the guests don't know is that the reason they've been assembled is because their host suspects one of them might be her husband's killer, and she's intent on uncovering the identity of the murderer. As the guests begin to suspect each other, revealing long-kept and sinister secrets in the process, an unknown black killer begins bumping them off in a variety of nasty ways. This one kind of sounds like an Agatha Christie type thing, like a 10 Little Indians type thing. Honestly, this one sounds really cool too. This one's from 1973. and it is another Spanish giallo. So that's pretty cool. You don't see a ton. I mean, when you talk giallos, it's usually the Italian ones, but there are a few Spanish ones as well. But yeah, this is a great box set. Forgotten Gialli Volume 1. That's a really cool box set. I like it. Vinegar Syndrome, man, killing it with these box sets. I missed out on the Angel box set. I wanted to grab those, but I just never did. And then the final release here, I had to do it. I went ahead and grabbed Forgotten Gialli Volume 2, which got a cool box as well. And man, I'm just telling you guys, the material of this, the quality is so good from these Vinegar Syndromes. So what do we got in here? The first one here, this one doesn't look as good as the others. We have this French Sex Murders, and damn, this one's a long one. It's from 1972. Following a brutal death of a prostitute at an executive Parisian brothel, grizzled Inspector Fontaine is brought in to investigate. After implicating Antonio, a petty theft and regular client of the murdered woman, Fontaine believes the case to be closed. However, Antonio makes a daring attempt to escape custody only to get decapitated in the process, after which his eyes are given over to a strange Professor Waldemar for study. But soon enough, those affiliated with the implicating him begin to meet their own violent ends. Has Antonio's vengeful spirit returned to kill those he believes responsible for his own gruesome fate, or has another more sinister character been behind these diabolical murders from the very beginning? Honestly, that does sound pretty good. Huh. And this one is a French. Is it French? I don't even know. It does not say on the back here what country it's from, but it's called the French Sex Murders, so I assume it might be French, but it could be Italian. I'm not sure. But yeah, French Sex Murders. Alright, and then we have The Girl in Room 2A. And this one came out in the year 1974. And it says, after being released from prison, a young woman named Margaret goes to stay in a halfway house for female ex-cons run by a kindly Miss Grant. It's not long before Margaret begins experiencing strange happenings in the old house, such as a recurring red stain on the floor, and worse, she begins to be plagued by visions of a young woman being tortured and murdered by a mysterious figure in a red hood. But things take an even more unsettling turn when she befriends Charlie, who is searching for his sister who disappeared after staying in Miss Grant's house. Honestly, like, all these sound good. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, sounds good. And then we have one that I am somewhat familiar with from 1972. I believe this was Brandon's #1 horror film of 1972 when we did the Top 10 of 1972 podcast, and that is My Dear Killer. Now, I have seen this film. I don't remember it, and I remember having an issue with the subtitles while watching it. They were like way behind or way ahead or out of sync or something, so I wasn't really that into it. But this one, I believe it's Italian, and it says, after a man is decapitated by an excavator at a rural construction site, Inspector Luca is assigned to the case, but what initially seems to be an isolated killing soon paves the way for an ever-growing number of vicious murders. As the inspector tries desperately to unmask the killer, he discovers that all of the victims were in some way connected to another shocking crime, the horrific murder of a young girl, which has remained unsolved for several years. So yeah, we have My Dear Killer, which I think this is one of the better ones out of all 6 of these. So yeah, Forgotten Gialli. Probably not going to dip into these anytime soon. This seems like a perfect way to start off Italian Horror Month next November. So I'll probably hold on to these box sets for that month. But yeah, So we got Forgotten Gialli Volume 1, Forgotten Gialli Volume 2, two awesome box sets from Vinegar Syndrome. And then, of course, we have Deadly Games, the 4K edition here. And we have Murder Weapon and Deadly Embrace, Linnea Quigley double feature. So, not a bad little haul from Vinegar Syndrome. Those box sets were actually, you know, pretty affordable. I think the one was like 30 something and the other one was 40 something. That's a very fair price for box sets. Deadly Games ran me a little bit more. I think it was around 30 or something like that, which bit much, but you know, it is a premium format that is fairly new, so yeah. Anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time with another one. Peace.